TED is a global set of conferences run by the private non-profit Sapling Foundation, under the slogan, "Ideas Worth Spreading." TED was founded in 1984 as a one-off event. The annual conference series began in 1990. TED's early emphasis was technology and design, consistent with its Silicon Valley origins, but it has since broadened its focus to include talks on many scientific, cultural, and academic topics. The main TED conference is held annually in Vancouver, Canada, and its companion TED Active is held in Whistler, British Columbia prior to 2014. The two conferences were held in Long Beach and Palm Springs, California, respectively. TED events are also held throughout North America and in Europe and Asia, offering live streaming of the talks. They address a wide range of topics within the research and practice of science and culture, often through storytelling. The speakers are given a maximum of 18 minutes to present their ideas in the most innovative and engaging ways they can. Past speakers include Bill Clinton, Jane Goodall, Al Gore, Gordon Brown, Billy Graham, Richard Dawkins, Richard Stallman, Bill Gates, Bono, Mike Rowe, Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and many Nobel Prize winners. TED's current curator is the British former computer journalist and magazine publisher Chris Anderson. Since June 2006, the talks have been offered for free viewing online, under an Attribution non-commercial no-derived Creative Commons license, through TED.com. As of February 2015, update, over 1,900 talks are freely available on the website. In June 2011, the talk's combined viewing figure stood at more than 500 million, and by November 2012, TED Talks had been watched over 1 billion times worldwide. Not all TED Talks are equally popular, however. Those given by academics tend to be watched more online, and art and design videos tend to be watched less than average. History. TED was conceived in 1984 by architect and graphic designer Richard Saul Wurman, who observed a convergence of the fields of technology, entertainment, and design. The first conference, organized by Harry Marks and Wurman in the same year, featured demos of the Sony compact disc, and one of the first demonstrations of the Apple Macintosh computer. Presentations were given by famous mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot and influential members of the Digerator community, like Nicolas Negroponte and Stuart Brand. The event was financially unsuccessful. It took 6 years before the second conference was organized. From 1990 onward, a growing community of TEDsters gathered annually at the event in Monterey, California, until 2009, when it was relocated to Long Beach, California due to a substantial increase in attendees. Initially, the speakers had been drawn from the field of expertise behind the acronym TED, but during the 90s, the roster of presenters broadened to include scientists, philosophers, musicians, religious leaders, philanthropists, and many others. In 2000, Wurman, looking for a successor at age 65, met with new media entrepreneur and TED enthusiast Chris Anderson to discuss future happenings. Anderson's UK media company Future bought TED, and, in November 2001, Anderson's non-profit the Sapling Foundation acquired TED from Future for £4 million. In February 2002, Anderson gave a TED Talk in which he explained his vision of the conference and his future role of curator. Wurman left after the 2002 conference. In 2006, attendance cost was $4,400 per person and was by invitation only. The membership model was shifted in January 2007 to an annual membership fee of $6,000, which includes attendance of the conference, club mailings, networking tools, and conference DVDs. In 2014, the conference was relocated to Vancouver. TED is currently funded by a combination of various revenue streams, including conference attendance fees, corporate sponsorships, foundation support, licensing fees, and book sales. Corporate sponsorships are diverse, provided by companies such as Google, GE, AOL, Goldman Sachs, the Coca-Cola Company, among others. Sponsors do not participate in the creative direction of the event, nor are they allowed to present on the main stage, in the interests of journalistic independence. The TED staff consists of about 140 people headquartered in New York City and Vancouver. TED Global. In 2005, under Anderson's supervision, a more internationally oriented sister conference was added, under the name TED Global. It was held, in chronological order, in Oxford, UK, in Arusha, Tanzania, in Oxford again and in Edinburgh, Scotland. In 2014, it was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Additionally, there was TED India, in Mysore. TED's European director is Swiss-born Bruno Giussani. TED Prize. The TED Prize was introduced in 2005. Until 2010, it annually granted 3 individuals $100,000 and a wish to change the world. Each winner unveils their wish at the main annual conference. Since 2010, in a changed selection process, a single winner is chosen to ensure that TED can maximize its efforts in achieving the winner's wish. In 2012, the prize was not awarded to an individual, but to a concept connected to the current global phenomenon of increasing urbanization. In 2013, the prize amount was increased to $1 million. TED Prize winners in previous years. TED Conference commissioned New York artist Tom Shannon to create a prize sculpture to be given to all TED Prize winners. The sculpture consists of an 8-inch diameter aluminum sphere magnetically levitated above a walnut disc. TED.com. In 2005, Chris Andrew hired June Cohen as director of TED Media. In June 2006, after Cohen's idea of a TV show based on TED lectures was rejected by several networks, a selection of talks that had received the highest audience ratings was posted on the websites of TED, YouTube, and iTunes. Under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derived 3.0. Initially, only a handful of talks were posted, to test if there was an audience for them. In January of the next year, the number of TED Talks on the site had grown to 44, and they had been viewed more than 3 million times. On the basis of that success, the organization pumped hundreds of thousands of dollars into its video production operations and into the development of a website to showcase about 100 of the talks. In April 2007, the new TED.com was launched, developed by design firm Method. In subsequent years, the website has won many prizes, among which 7 Webby Awards, iTunes Best Podcast of the Year, the Communication Arts Interactive Award for Information Design in 2007, the OMMA Award for Video Sharing in 2008. The Web Visionary Award for Technical Achievement in 2008, the One Show Interactive Bronze Award in 2008, the Iger Annual Design Competition and a Peabody Award in 2012. As of June 2015, over 2,000 TED Talks had been posted. Every week 5 to 7 new talks are published. In January 2009, the then number of videos had been viewed 50 million times. In June 2011, the number of views totaled 500 million, and on the 13th of November 2012, TED reached its billionth video view. Chris Anderson, Indiana. An interview in March 2012. It used to be 800 people getting together once a year, now it's about 1 million people a day watching TED Talks online. When we first put up a few of the talks as an experiment, we got such impassioned responses that we decided to flip the organization on its head and think of ourselves not so much as a conference but as ideas worth spreading, building a big website around it. The conference is still the engine, but the website is the amplifier that takes the ideas to the world. In March 2012, Netflix announced a deal to stream an initial series of 16 two-hour shows, consisting of TED Talks covering similar subjects, from multiple speakers. The content will be available to subscribers in the US, Canada, Latin America, the UK and Ireland. Hosted by Jamie Floyd, TED Talks NYC debuted on NYC Live on March 21, 2012. The Open Translation Project. TED Open Translation Project started in May 2009, and aims to reach out to the 4.5 billion people on the planet who don't speak English, according to TED curator Chris Anderson. The OTP utilizes crowd-based subtitling platforms to translate the text of TED and TED-Ed videos, as well as to caption and translate videos created in the TEDx program. At the time of the launch, 300 translations had been done by 200 volunteer transcribers in 40 languages. In May 2015, over 70,000 sets of subtitles in 107 languages had been completed by 38,173 volunteer translators. The project contributed to a significant increase in international visitors to TED's website, with traffic from outside the US growing 350%, 600% growth in Asia, and more than 1,000% in South America. Members have several tools dedicated to knowledge management, such as the OTP Wikipedia, Facebook groups, or video tutorials. TEDx. TEDx are independent TED-like events, which can be organized by anyone who obtains a free license from TED, agreeing to follow certain principles. TEDx events are non-profit, but may use an admission fee or commercial sponsorship to cover costs. Similarly, speakers are not paid. They must also relinquish the copyrights to their materials, which TED may edit and distribute under a Creative Commons license. As of January 2014, TEDx Talk Library contained some 30,000 films and presentations from over 130 countries. In March 2013, 8 TEDx events were organized every day, raised up from 5 in June 2012, the previous year, in 133 countries. TEDx presentations also include live performances, which are catalogued in the TEDx Music Project. In 2011, TED began a program called TEDx in a Box, that allows people in developing countries to hold TEDx events. TEDx also expanded to include TEDx Youth events, TEDx corporate events and TEDx Women. In 2014, TEDx University of San Carlos, the first independently organized TED in the Visayas region of the Philippines, made a record for organizing 5 TEDx events in a span of 6 months. According to TEDx Santa Cruz, as of 2015, over 1,500 of them have been scheduled all over the world. TEDx Youth are independent programs set up for students roughly between 7 to 12 grades. These events usually have people closer to the age of the students and sometimes show TED Talks. Some of these events include TEDx Youth at Austin, TEDx Youth at Barcelona, TEDx Youth at Brabantlan, TEDx Youth at Columbisc, TEDx Youth at Caltech, TEDx Youth at Giz, TEDx Youth at Saratoga Springs, TEDx Youth at the Beltline, TEDx Youth at Susho, TEDx Youth at Denby and Fist. TED Fellows. TED Fellows were introduced in 2007, during the first TED Africa conference in Arusha, Tanzania, where 100 young people were selected from across the continent. 2 years later, during TED India, 99 fellows were recruited, mainly from South Asia. In 2009, the Fellows program was initiated in its present form. For every TED or TED Global Conference, 20 fellows are selected out of more than 1,200 applicants, a total of 40 new fellows a year. Out of the 40 fellows selected in the previous year, 15 people are chosen each year to participate in the 2-year Senior Fellows program. Hence, every year, there are 40 new fellows plus 30 senior fellows from the 2 previous years. Acceptance as a fellow is not based on academic credentials, but mainly on past and current actions, and plans for the future. Besides attending a conference free of charge, each fellow takes part in a special program with mentoring by experts in the field of spreading ideas. and he or she can give a short talk on the TED Fellows, or TED University, stage, the day before the conference starts. Some of these talks are subsequently published on TED.com. Senior fellows have additional benefits and responsibilities. In February 2013, restaurateur Eddie Huang was released from the TED Fellowship for not respecting its rule of full participation in the conference. Eddie was the first person ever to be asked to leave the TED Fellowship, which is a competitive application-based program. "We wish him nothing but the best," TED said in a statement. TEDMED. TEDMED is an annual conference focusing on health and medicine. It is an independent event operating under license from the non-profit TED Conference. TEDMED was originally founded in 1998 by TED's founder Ricky Wurman, and after years of inactivity, in 2008, Wurman sold TEDMED to entrepreneur Mark Hodosh, who recreated and relaunched it. The first event under Hodosh's ownership was held in San Diego in October 2009. In January 2010, TED.com began including videos of TEDMED talks on the TED website. The second Hodosh-owned edition of TEDMED took place in October 2010, also in San Diego. It sold out for a second year and attracted notable healthcare leaders and Hollywood celebrities. In 2011, Jay Walker and a group of executives and investors purchased TEDMED from Hodosh for $16 million, with future additional payments of as much as $9 million. The conference was then moved to Washington, D.C. Other programs. TED Books are original books from TED. Like the talks, TED Books are long enough to explore a powerful idea but short enough to read in a single sitting. The initiative relaunched in September 2014 with its first book in print. TED Clubs, an education-based initiative to get young people to share their ideas with peers and others by giving a TED-like presentation on the topic they're passionate about. TED provides curricular and limited support for the clubs free of charge. TED Women, a series of conferences focused on women-oriented themes, including gender issues and reproductive health. Criticism. Frank Swain, a deaf journalist, refused to participate in TEDx event without getting paid. He cited that TED, which is supposedly a non-profit organization, charges attendees $6,000 but can't afford to pay anything to their speakers, is merely unacceptable. Sarah Lacey of Businessweek and TechCrunch claimed TED was elitist, on the basis of $6,000 ticket price for in-person attendees, poor treatment of less important attendees, and her friends being disinvited to TED after quitting an ostensibly prestigious San Francisco job. Disagreements have also occurred between TED speakers and organizers. In her 2010 TED Talk, comedian Sarah Silverman referred to adopting retarded child. TED organizer Chris Anderson objected via his Twitter account, leading to a Twitter skirmish between him. Also in 2010, noted statistician Nassim Taleb called TED a monstrosity that turns scientists and thinkers into low-level entertainers. Like circus performers, he claimed TED curators did not initially post his talk, warning about the financial crisis, on their site on purely cosmetic grounds. Nick Hanauer spoke at TED University, challenging the popular belief that top-income earners in America are the engines of job creation. TED was accused of censoring the talk by not posting the talk on its site. The National Journal reported Chris Anderson had reacted by saying the talk probably ranked as one of the most politically controversial talks they'd ever run, and they needed to be really careful about when they posted it. Anderson officially responded indicating that TED only posts one talk every day, selected from many. Forbes staff writer Bruce Upin described Hanauer's talk as shoddy and dumb, while New York Magazine condemned the conference's move. According to Professor Benjamin Bratton at University of California, San Diego, TED Talk's efforts at fostering progress in socioeconomics, science, philosophy and technology have been ineffective. Chris Anderson responded that some critics have a misconception of TED's goals.